So we kind of just finished the meeting and about the writer illustrator workshop. And so there was a couple things that I wanted to wrap up with you. And one of them is just talking about illustrations. And it's like, what is too many illustrations? What's too few? So this is just about illustrations. So the books that I read, partnerships, were by the Fan Brothers. But I have these two books that I just have on hand. This Imaginary, and it's illustrated by Emily Gravett and written by A.F. Harold. And there's a fair number of illustrations in this book. So, but they're few and far between, and I think some of them are really complicated. They're not too complicated for Emily Gravett because she's one of those kind of illustrators, but like this is an important part of the story. And can you see how there's like that mist thing coming out? And look at his Hawaiian shirt is actually quite scary because it's not flowers, it's one flower and a bunch of really dangerous looking things. So but anyway, and so she's illustrating possibly with pencil, but it might be ink. We'd have to like actually read up on it. Let's find out if it says in the back. It says author and illustrator. So she's both. She wrote that book called Wolves, which I've read to children before. So some of you might remember it. Let's see. Well, it doesn't tell us what she uses. I think we'd have to go to her website, www.emilygravett with 2 T's.com. And she lives in Brighton, England with her partner and daughter and 2 rats, that's kind of funny. And then A.F. Harold is a stand-up comedian with 2 cats who lives in Reading. And that's just an aside. But so there's, like, when you look at this book, there's design to it, but there's like just a few illustrations. And the reason I love this book and its illustrations so much is only because of one illustration. It's just one. And I'm going to read to you what it says because let's see if I can get to the page right. Okay. Hold on. It's in the beginning. And then when I saw this illustration and read the story that was attached to it, I instantly fell in love with the book. It's not that beginning-ish. So what happens in the beginning of the story is that somebody comes to her house, and it's that person with that weird shirt, and he's got that weird shirt on, and this is what I like. This is when I fell in love with the book. Okay, so the person is showing you that the main character, not Amanda. Is it Amanda is the main character? Mm-hmm. She's playing hide and go seek, and the illustrator used these numbers to let you count down or count up to know when the seeking is going to happen. So this is the hiding, but it goes like this. Let me just read this to you because it makes me love this book. 98, 99, 100. Goldie called from the hallway, "Coming, ready or not." Amanda listened to the silence of the babysitter's thinking. She could picture the look on the teenager's face. Should she go upstairs or downstairs? Check the kitchen or the front room? Look under the lampshade or under the table? How to begin the search? There was a buzz of excitement in Amanda's stomach. She listened to the kitchen cupboards being opened and closed one after another. Then the under the stairs cupboard door gave its usual creak. I wonder why under the stairs cupboards always have creaky doors. And there's stuff that happens in under the stairs cupboards. It's so many stories. Harry Potter. Okay. Gave its usual creak. Goldie was certainly being thorough. This was good. After a moment's quiet, Amanda heard the babysitter's footsteps come closer. Through the legs of her mum's chair, she saw the silhouette of the girl in the doorway. Goldie reached out and flicked on the study light. Amanda resisted the urge to wriggle back farther under the desk. Making a noise at this moment would be disastrous. Keep still, she told herself. Keep quiet. Goldie looked around at the bookcases and then pulled open the top drawer of Mrs. Shuffleup's filing cabinet. Amanda wasn't in there. She took a step into the middle of the room. Amanda could see her legs and watched her turning in a slow circle. She thought about the study. There weren't any cabinets to hide in. There wasn't a laundry basket or a wing-backed armchair for a girl to crouch behind. In fact, she realized with a sinking feeling the only hiding place in the room was the place where she was hiding. Even Goldie was bound to work it out any moment. So can I just tell you something? I'm telling you that she's hiding under the desk. So Emily Gravett did not draw the desk. She did not draw the whole room. She only drew a small rectangle, or illustrated a small rectangle with the girl squished up inside of it that represents the inside of under the desk, and then added those numbers to show you that there was counting going on. Then the doorbell rang, and Goldie went to answer the front door. There was a boom of thunder that rattled the windows, and Amanda shifted underneath the desk. Her left leg had begun to go to sleep. This was a good opportunity to get comfortable while the babysitter was distracted. "I'm sorry to bother you, young lady," said a man's voice from the hallway, "but my car has broken down there. It's a dreadful weathered evening tonight. My portable telephone is out of... Be so kind as to let me borrow your telephone to call for..." Said Goldie, the uncertainty in her voice obvious. "Well, it's not my house, Mrs. Shuffleup. She's out right now. I'm just the babysitter. I don't know if You and I both know that a thunderclap plus a stranger at the door, not a good thing. Fortunately, Amanda, the main character, is already hiding. But the babysitter is at the door. "Oh, I understand, really. I've been left in charge of it, and you feel troubled by a stranger knocking, but we'll only take a moment, really. Do be my savior, young ma'am. What harm?" Amanda didn't hear everything, because the rain was thudding loudly against the study window now, but she had the oddest feeling. She recognized the voice. It wasn't a voice she knew. She wasn't sure. Was sure it wasn't one of her mom's friends, and it wasn't any of the neighbors. But remember, I told you that somebody had knocked on the door earlier. "Well," Goldie was saying, "it's not my house. Of course, I understand. No harm. I see the lights on next door. I'll try there. Good evening." Yeah, okay, night." The front door shut, and the sound of the rain on the front path was hushed. Still, that voice was working its way around the inside of Amanda's brain. She couldn't quite place it. It was most annoying, but the man was gone now, so she said to herself, "Never mind." And then the lights went out. There's just two illustrations that I'm talking about. So this one is not the desk, not the room. It's just a single little bit of that story. Then the scariest part, it says, she said to herself, "Never mind." Then the lights went out. This is when I fell in love with this book, because Emily Gravett is using illustration in a different way. That is an illustration, right? It shows you that the lights went out, and on that page it's written, "And the lights went out." So when you think of illustrating things, you don't start in a really big way. You could start in quite a small way, very small. Now, the opposite happens in this book. I was thinking about this. This is a board book, and it's a picture book, and it's called The Littlest Family's Big Day, which I'll read to the little kids coming up. But in it, it says, "So one morning, very early, a little family came to the woods." So picture books end up being a lot of information is delivered by pictures. So, and then fewer of the ideas are sent to you in sentences. So if somebody's like really loves the idea of illustration, then they would pick their words quite carefully. So this only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 words, but the picture tells you more. So we know that it's morning because that's what the author has told us. This is author and illustrator. She did the same, both. We know that a little family has come to the woods, and we actually see that this little family has a fox baby, which, hello, love, unless that's something else. But anyway, and so maybe 4 people in their family. They have a suitcase. There's a red door. There's a fern. So everything's quite small, isn't it? Everything's small. These Littlest Family, they're very little, so the illustrator author decided to make everything else quite large. So that fern looks like a tree, but as we know, ferns don't usually come up to our knees. So they found a place just big enough for all their little things. And so then look at all the little things they've decided to put in. So I was thinking about this whole picture book, chapter book idea that we were talking about today, and I could see that maybe we could get stuck in thinking, how many pictures do we need to put in? And you have to make a decision in your heart, like, am I making a picture book or am I making a chapter book? Am I treating this book, this story that was shared to me by one of the people who volunteered to be the author? I can actually decide to give that person a lot of pictures, or I can decide to give one single picture that captures a moment. And if you think about the way she's decided to capture a moment, I mean, she captured a really big moment of then the lights went out here. And so I just want to tell you that it doesn't end there, because, and then the lights went out again. So yeah, you have to think about it. Okay. And then the other thing that I wanted to tell you before you left is, do read that article about the naked mole rats, because it is delicious. I can't even tell you how delicious that thing is until you read it yourself. It's in today's Washington Post. And let me just see if I can actually get the title of it, because I took pictures of my favorite parts, which was like enormous menacing mole rat queen. I mean, who doesn't want to even think about that for a minute? So we have that, and we have, let's just see what the name of the article is. Let's see. I'll do a search. Mole rat queen. Mole rat. Naked mole rat. That's the dog. That's the dog. The Mystery of the Great Naked Mole Rat Migration by Jason Biddle. So hold on. That's the dog. That is the dog. He can't be outside because he was crying. And here it is. There's the mole rats. And every so often when night falls on Maroon National Park in Kenya, an event takes place few people have ever witnessed: the migration of the naked mole rat. And I had this Jason who wrote the story, or maybe the editor that worked with Jason, I think they love the words naked mole rat, because they say naked mole rat so many times. And so check it out. And there's so much story in this news article. It's really good. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.